Okay, so I hope that you somewhat enjoyed that meme video. I found it as cringe as you did, not only during filming, but in watching it and rewatching it and editing it. It didn't turn out the way that I wanted to, but I think that, creating videos like this is actually an important part of YouTube, and, not only because it's fun to create videos like that, because I actually enjoyed, filming that with my sister and editing it just before, but also because by putting a video like this out on the internet where I feel so cringe watching it, and knowing that I'm putting that kind of video out on the internet for other people to watch, it will help me develop thicker skin. And as we all know, discomfort is one of the key components of growth. So that's why I've decided to include that video. Because, I could have just started off with a very generic, hey, today we're going to be speaking about bullet journaling and all that kind of stuff. But I thought that it would be more interesting if I created something different. So, I'll try and make all my videos with some kind of unique, I guess you could say, videos that have, a bit of my poor filmmaking and acting skills in them. Because I think that it can be an inspiration for other people to see that, if other people are doing this and they're this bad, then I can definitely make something better. So hopefully this inspires you to make a video and put it on YouTube. So let me just set this down and we'll get into actually talking about bullet journaling. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about bullet journaling. In particular, my process of bullet journaling, the spreads that I use, the benefits of bullet journaling, and yeah, that's kind of the main three things that I wanted to talk about. So I first stumbled across bullet journaling when I watched one of Nathaniel Drew's videos on YouTube where he talked about his process of bullet journaling and what he used it for and the benefits of it. And after watching that video, I kind of stumbled down the rabbit hole of looking at different Instagram posts where different people shared their spreads and learning more about the official bullet journal by a guy called Ryder Carroll. And just watching a lot of different videos about why bullet journaling is important, because up until that point I hadn't really heard about it. Why I use bullet journaling is mainly as a task manager. And when I say task manager, I basically just mean, a to-do list. In the past, I have had to-do lists where I've had a big A4 piece of paper and just written down everything that I need to do on that piece of paper. But I found that having that kind of format just made an impossibly long list of tasks that I never actually completely achieved. And so that's why I've changed to this new method of bullet journaling. And also just a little side note that this is what I'm currently doing right now. But my bullet journal process and workflow has evolved very much since I first started last year in October. So it's evolved with time, and so I reserve the right to change it into the future. So I'll try and make this like a yearly video and include some different spreads and that kind of stuff of what I've incorporated into my own bullet journal. So for me, the main benefits of bullet journaling are one, that you only allocate yourself a certain number of tasks each day, and so it's a little bit more manageable than if you just had a whole list of things that you have to complete, not necessarily just today, but in forever. I think forever to-do lists are a little bit too broad and can make it quite difficult to actually get done what you need to get done. So that's why I like this bullet journal style. That's one of the main reasons. Another is because it's kind of like something that I can carry around all the time and just keep on top of exactly what I need to get done. And I just prefer it to having something on my phone. I don't know why, I just like the act of writing. And the third reason is because I find that it's a good way to store my habits. I know there are different ways to store habits, different apps and that kind of stuff, and track the habits that you're doing. But I find for me that bullet journaling is just a good way to incorporate my habit tracking. So I'm currently editing this video just over here, and one of the things that I forgot to mention was a fourth benefit, and really the main benefit of bullet journaling, and that is just having somewhere where you've got everything that you need to do in one place. So I kind of went on the assumption that you already have a to-do list, but if you don't have one, then that is a good first place to start if you don't want to invest in bullet journaling or anything like that. Just having a list of tasks that you need to get done and kind of deadlines by when you need to get them done by is just such an important part of being productive that I would highly recommend you start there. Okay, so there are 4 main kinds of spreads that I use. 1 is my daily habit tracker, 2 is my daily to-dos list, 3 is my weekly to-dos list, and 4 is my kind of monthly goals. So when I talk about those 4 main spreads, that just refers to the 4 different types of pages that I use. As you'll find out when I go through my actual journal, there were a bunch of other pages that I tried out initially, but I discovered that I didn't like using, and I kind of transitioned them into other areas of my productivity workflow, like using Notion. So really quickly, on the first page, what I do is I write down the number of boxes that are horizontally located and vertically located on a particular page, because then it allows me to know if I want to draw a line halfway down the page, how far across I need to go without having to measure each time. So I can just quickly come back and refer to how many boxes there are across or down. So the next page is the index page, and this basically, like any index, has got a collection of all the different pages that are located in the bullet journal and their corresponding page numbers. I don't use this page regularly. I do try to update it though, because I already know whereabouts the pages are because they're arranged chronologically, and I don't really need an index because I don't really have these kind of unique pages with ideas and stuff. I keep that kind of stuff in Notion. So the index isn't really something that I use that much. Now we're going to move on to the first main spread, which is the habit tracker. There are many different ways that one can habit track. My preferred method is using a bullet journal and writing down all the different habits that I want to accomplish in a month and track them every day by crossing off when I have completed them. So any blank spaces is when I haven't been able to complete that habit on that particular day, and that's also the same as these dark boxes, which is just when I've accidentally crossed it off even though I haven't completed them. So this is a really simple way to track your habits. There are lots of other ways to do it, like apps that you can use, but this is just my preferred way. And so each month I just basically draw something like this up with the days and the dates next to them and cross them off as I go. I'm sure you guys are already aware of what the different benefits are of habit tracking, so I won't talk about that today, but I will make a future video about why I think habit tracking is one of the best ways to maintain habits long term. So the next spread is my daily to-do list. And basically what this involves is writing down a list of the tasks that I need to get done tomorrow. So the reason why it's tomorrow is because usually I like to write down the tasks that I need to get done the next day on the day before. So for example, today it is Saturday the 22nd of August. So tomorrow it will be the 23rd of August, and that'll be a Sunday. And so on the night of Saturday night, I usually write down everything that I want to get done for the next day. We'll just stick with this for now. So when I'm writing my to-do list for the day, I actually try to write down as much as I possibly can, because I know that every time that I tick something off, I get a little hit of dopamine that makes me feel good, makes me feel successful, and that kind of propels me on to the next task. So I know that other people sometimes recommend that you should only write down really key tasks so that you're intentional about what you're doing. But I feel like the things that I'm writing down, I know that they're not necessarily that important, but I still have to get them done because, I need to eat, I need to have good fingernails, I need to get my assignments done. And so, yeah, I try and not be selective in terms of what tasks that I'm writing down. So in terms of structure, I usually just put a bullet point for each different task that I need to do. And then if I get it done, I usually tick them off. If I don't get them done, I'll cross them off. If I need to migrate them to a future day, so what that basically means is I didn't get it done today, but I still need to do it before a certain deadline. So then I'll just use this little arrow to kind of push it forward to the next day. And so, on the next day I would write, meal prep or whatever here. And so if there's a really important task that's like, I absolutely need to get done today, I will put a star next to it so I know that it's important. And if I have notes, then I use a dash to represent that this is just a note. It's not necessarily an actual task that I need to do. So for example, if it was my friend John's birthday, then I might just write that down as a note. And to try and minimize the number of trees that I'm cutting down, I don't take a new page every day. As you can see here, I try and keep multiple pages to one day and cram in as much information as I can so that I don't have to kill that many trees. Okay, so now we'll talk about my weekly spread. I do a weekly review every Sunday where I both review the week gone and plan for the upcoming week. Part of this review includes writing a list of to-dos/goals for the week ahead. I always do this at the start of a new page, so I start off by writing the date range, so the 23rd of August to the 29th of August, and then I just write weekly goals, and then I just write down a list of all the different things that I absolutely need to or that I want to get done this week. So for example, in the upcoming week I need to upload one YouTube video. Those are kind of just like things that I want to get done this week, so I just make sure I write them down. That way I can tick them off when I've done them, and that way, so the whole kind of plan is I have a set of goals for the whole year, or things that I need to get done for the whole year. And so by having weekly goals or to-dos, it allows me to break them into smaller chunks that are more manageable and easier for me to accomplish, because otherwise, for example, one of the things that like this redesign website, if I just wrote as an annual goal to create a website, the design is only one aspect of it. I need to publish posts, I need to do SEO stuff, all that kind of jazz. And so even this redesigning website is probably too large of a task, and that's why I've just mentioned that I'm going to start on it. But by breaking these tasks into smaller weekly goals or to-dos, then I'm more likely to get them done. So that's what I think the benefit of having this weekly goals/to-dos section is. Throughout the week, I review these and I try to tick them off as much as possible. And I make sure when I'm writing my daily to-do list, I try and incorporate some of this into them so that, each day I'm working on at least one of these things. And then on my weekly review day, which is on the following Sunday, I go through this and I tick off the ones that I have done. And if there are things that I haven't done, I either cross them off and decide that I don't need to do them, or I migrate them to the future where I will, do them in a future week. The final spread that I use is my monthly goals section. This is just a list of things that I want to accomplish in this particular month. So for example, in the current month of August, I plan to do my medicine assessments, which is number 1 and 2 on the list, record a podcast episode with my friend Ren for our podcast called Careers in Medicine, start a diet and exercise program by a YouTuber called Jeremy Ethier, record and upload 4 or more YouTube videos, which unfortunately I don't think I'll be able to do this month, and finish some study for a future exam that I'll be doing later this year. I think this is a pretty self-explanatory section, so I won't spend too much time here. Okay, So that's my bullet journaling workflow. I do want to mention that I do have a separate journal for recording like my ideas, my thoughts, and my emotions. And I kind of use a separate journal for that. I use one of these journals, which is just like lined pages of text. And I'll talk more about that in a future video because I think that type of journaling is seriously so important and so something that every single person should do. As I have mentioned, there are many different ways that you can bullet journal, and I think that you should try and create the spreads that suit your needs. So for me personally, when I started out, I tried to rule everything to the millimeter, tried to make it look super aesthetic, but I found that the time that I spent doing that, while I kind of enjoyed it and I was happy with how it looked, I thought that that time could be better spent doing other things. And so in the end, I'd kind of discarded all that, and I've stripped my bullet journaling workflow to the bare bones, to the bare essentials, and I think that what I have now is what works best for me at this current point in time. If you are looking for really beautiful and aesthetic spreads, you should definitely check out Instagram. There's so many pages where they just list different bullet journals that people have created and the spreads that they use. So I haven't introduced myself yet. My name's Kajanan and I am a medical student, as you might have guessed from the title. I actually only mentioned that to add to the clickbaitiness of the video because I thought that medical students might seem more knowledgeable about this kind of stuff, but in reality it's irrelevant. Anyways, that wraps up the video today. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to comment down below if you have any feedback. I'd also love it if you liked this video and subscribed. Not only does it allow you to get more access to the content that I'm creating, but it also allows me to feel better about the way that I'm spending my time by seeing more than 6 subscribers next to my name. So thanks so much in advance for doing that, and I'll see you in the next one. Recorded?
Yeah.
No, that's not the face. No, you don't have to stop. We'll just keep going like multiple takes in the same clip. What's a puzzled expression? Is that puzzled? No. What does a puzzled expression look like? Can you show me in your